first step was to record myself whistling, and this is the whistle that we get. So that's a four-note motif that appears, you know, sometimes halved, sometimes a little bit changed up throughout the movie. So the first step, I actually wanted it to sound lower, but what I found was when I was whistling, I didn't have enough kind of power and projection behind a lower whistle, so I used a little bit of Little AlterBoy from Sound Toys to make it lower, straight on the low octave double preset. However, I've cranked the formant down to -12 and the mix all the way to wet, and we get this. You can hear the difference. So makes a change. So we got that going on. Next step was to then start adding the dirt and the grit, and Decapitator from Sound Toys is also a really great tool to do that. I've got it set to Bad Old Radio preset, and I've literally not changed anything on this. I just cranked the mix to 100% wet. So let's hear what it sounds like with that. So it's doing two things. It's adding a bunch of drive and adjusting the tone, and then obviously adding the output and volume to it, which gives back some of what Little AlterBoy took away. The next step was to then add some guitar pedals. Having not a huge setup here, I'm using Guitar Rig 6 to do that. So there's we're not actually really using the tape echo particularly. We are using the twin delay, however. On this dusty vinyl kind of preset that I've tweaked ever so slightly. So we've got a bit of mix of this twin delay. We've got some dirt with the drive coming through A with sort of 50% saturation. Then we've got some bite, and we're kind of trying to give it jitters, they call it here, and a little bit of saturation mixed all the way up. Tiny little bit of equalizer shelving. Then just a bit of panning going on, and then a sort of first reverb, you'll see what I mean in a second, and that does this to it. And we're getting closer to the final thing, and what it needs, the final thing, is just to have that real sort of cinematic splosh, and that's where Blackhole comes in. And this is literally, as it loads, I've just cranked the mix up ever so slightly, and here we go. And when you hear that, you know he's coming.